Welcome to your reading, loves. I am Laurel, Elder of the Silver Swords. So very nice to have you here. This story begins in the quiet kingdom of your own life. You stood at the edge of the great completion. You had travelled the entire map, fought the beasts of doubt, and gathered the fragments of your identity. This is the world. You reached the summit not breathless, but centred. Beside you stood the Queen of Swords. She didn't offer a hug, she offered a silver blade. "The climb is over," she whispered, "but to stay here, you must stop carrying the weight of those who didn't make the journey." With a single elegant stroke, she cut the invisible threads of old guilt and outdated promises. You felt a strange, cold lightness, the weight of a crown being placed upon a clear head. As you descended the other side of the mountain, the landscape shifted from wild terrain to a sprawling golden estate. Waiting at the gates was the Hierophant, holding the ancient keys of tradition, and the King of Pentacles, sitting upon a throne carved from living oak. They didn't ask for your passion, they asked for your discipline. Together, they showed you how to turn your fleeting insights into stone and coin. "A dream is a cloud," the king told you, "but a legacy is a fortress." You began to build, realizing that your spiritual height was now being matched by your material depth. While you worked, a shadow tried to follow you, the ghost of an old battlefield where you once fought to be heard and understood. This was the Five of Swords reversed. But when you turned to face it, you didn't draw your sword. Instead, you took a long, slow sip from the Nine of Cups. You were so full of your own quiet contentment that the old conflict had nowhere to land. The win was no longer in defeating the enemy, but in the fact that the enemy no longer mattered. You walked away from the fight, and in doing so, you finally won the war. Finally, you reached the village of the Three Cups. The music was loud, and the crowd beckoned you to join their familiar, frantic dance. But the wine tasted thin, and the laughter felt hollow. This was the Three of Cups reversed, the realization that you had outgrown the circle. Just as you turned to leave the noise, a lone figure appeared on the horizon. The Knight of Cups. He wasn't part of the crowd. He rode a slow, steady horse, carrying a chalice that glowed with a soft, bioluminescent light. He wasn't offering a party. He was offering a poetry of the soul. The dilemma was clear. Stay in the noisy room where everyone knows your name, or ride out into the quiet night with the knight to discover a love or a craft that actually speaks your new language. You adjusted your cloak, felt the weight of the king's ring on your finger and the queen's clarity in your mind, and you stepped toward the knight. The story of the seeker had ended. The story of the sovereign had begun. The moral of this story is that true power is the synthesis of closure and construction. It is the realization that you cannot rule a new kingdom while still mourning the ruins of the old one. That discernment is the highest form of self-love. To reach a state of the world, you must be willing to be the villain in someone else's story by setting a boundary. Maturity means understanding that a sharp no is often more spiritual than a dishonest yes. That spirituality without structure is just a vapor. High vibrational living is not found in escaping the world, but in mastering it. When you align your inner values, the Hierophant, with your outer resources, the King, your success stops being a stroke of luck and becomes a natural law. Remember that peace is the only win that pays dividends. You haven't truly won until the person who offended you no longer has the power to annoy you. The hidden lesson here is that indifference is more powerful than vengeance. By filling your own cup, the 9 of Cups, you make yourself unattackable, and that evolution is often a lonely road before it becomes a crowded one. The dilemma of being out of sync with your old group is actually a safety mechanism. It clears the social noise so you can hear the hoofbeats of the Knight of Cups, the arrival of something or someone that actually matches the frequency of your new throne. Let this part of your journey serve as a bridge between the effort of the past and the authority of the future. And as you and your future self continue your journey, remember, you have arrived at the gates of the world, not by luck, but by the steady hand of the Queen of Swords. Remember that the clarity you feel now was bought with the courage to say no when your heart was heavy. Do not let the world soften your edges again. Your discernment is your protection. The gold you are building, the King of Pentacles' legacy, is the physical evidence of your spiritual integrity. You have proven that a soul can be both high vibrational and deeply grounded. When you look back from your fortress, remember that it was built one stone of discipline at a time, guided by the Hierophant's wisdom. You are finally full. The 9 of Cups is your natural state now. The battles of the 5 of Swords are over because you simply stopped showing up to them. Your peace is your power. If you ever feel the pull of the old crowd, the 3 of Cups reversed, remind yourself that the silence was necessary. It was the only way you could hear the hoofbeats of the Knight of Cups, bringing you the offer that actually matches your worth. You are no longer a passenger in your life. You are the architect, the ruler, and the muse. Walk forward with the quiet confidence of one who has nothing left to prove and everything to create.